Hello, Stitchy friends. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all having a wonderful week and enjoying whatever little bit of spring that you have coming your way. Hopefully by now you're having some warmer spring weather. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, and we are here to share Flosstube number 88 with you. This is the Runner Stitcher, my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey, also a little bit about running, and Winston usually joins me. I know a lot of you noticed that last week Winston was barely in the video, hardly at all, and that was because he was just laying on the chair with my dad. He was having a really good time in Florida, just soaking up the little bit of time he had left to spend with my parents, so he didn't want to be in the video last week, and that was totally fine. He was chilling with my dad, but this week he's back and he's here while we're going to share my cross-stitch projects that I've been working on. As you can tell, I am in a different setting. I am back in New York City. I traveled back on Thursday and Winston and I arrived safely. Winston did great on the plane. You know, when the suitcases came out, he was getting really anxious, really nervous, but once he realized that he was coming along with me, he was totally fine. He did great on the plane, great on the subway back to the apartment, and we are back in New York City, back in my apartment. It feels really great and really strange all at the same time after being gone for so long. But I'm definitely happy to be back here and yeah, just get back to this life here in New York City. You'll have to excuse me if the filming is a little off today. I'm still getting used to my new camera and the new old setting, and just trying to get everything squared away. So I hope everything will be okay today. The lighting seems to be pretty good right now, so that's why I'm filming. I know most of you love the brick wall, and I want to keep that in the background. I love it too. So this is where we'll be filming. This is my Stitchy spot, basically. If you are new here, first of all, welcome to the channel. Second of all, yeah, this is my Stitchy spot. This is where I stitch in New York City, and I love it. It's my little cozy corner. But this is where I'll be filming the videos moving forward. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and spending a little bit of time with me and Winston. We really appreciate it. I wanted to start off by saying a big thank you to a couple of people who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link listed below. Thank you, Kat, Eunice, and Anne-Marie. Your gifts were very greatly appreciated. One of you mentioned that I should buy a coffee and a bagel here in New York City, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. So thank you very much for those kind gifts. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me to have your support, so thank you. I also wanted to just say, if you haven't watched, I did a Flosstube extra at the end of last week, or I posted it at the end of last week, but it was a flip through of Iris from Needle Lot Designs, her new cross-stitch book. It's called Fantasy Cross-Stitch, and it is a really, really cool book with 25 different fantasy cross-stitch patterns. It's a lot of fun. So I did a full flip through of that book, so I won't talk about it much here on this week's episode, but you can go back and watch that if you'd like. However, I did think that I wanted to expand, what I'm showing of Iris's work. She is a really talented designer, and I think the Fantasy Cross-Stitch book is a great taste of what she can do, but her patterns have a wide range of interests and styles too. So I thought, for those of you who just saw the cross-stitch book, you might not know what her other patterns are like. So I figured for the month of April, for the rest of this month, each week when I film a Flosstube, I would just highlight one of her patterns that I really love from her Etsy shop. She has a lot of great patterns, but there's just a couple that I'll highlight, and it'll kind of show a little bit of the different styles that she is capable of, and who knows, you might find something you like in these patterns instead of just the ones in the book as well. So this week, the one I wanted to share is called Toucan Cross Stitch, and it's such a fun, I'll put a picture up here of it, such a fun, vibrant, bright cross-stitch pattern. I love it. I also love the fabric that she chose to stitch it on, or her test stitchers were stitching it on. It just really makes the whole thing come to life and bring such happy, fun colors to the piece. You can definitely tell that style of this pattern is similar to her Fantasy Cross-Stitch. She has a very unique, consistent style across her pieces, but this is a very different style of design, and I thought it'd be fun to showcase that one this week. Now, if you want to see this one being stitched, go check out Laura from Stitching by the Shore. She is working on this piece, and we're going to watch it grow together on her channel, so definitely check her out. She's got a wonderful Flosstube if you don't know her, but I'm sure you do. But she's got a wonderful channel. Definitely go check her out, and you'll see more of this pattern being stitched. And come back next week. I'll continue sharing one pattern that I personally like from Iris's collection of her designs, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what else she's capable of. So hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed the flip through as well. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to talk about is Whip into Shape, the walking edition. As you know, we took a little break last week and there were no new walking videos posted, and I am back in New York City now, so I'm about to film my first walking video. I'm hoping that this afternoon, after I film this and get this video up, I'm hoping I'll be able to do my first one today. It's a really beautiful, actually kind of warm day today in the city. I think it's supposed to reach mid-80s today, so it's pretty warm here in the city. Hoping a lot of people will be out, and hoping I can film my first video today. But I had so much fun filming those videos in Florida, and I'm really, really excited to begin to share the city with you. And so I will get that filmed and hopefully posted by next Tuesday. So there'll definitely be one walking video by next Tuesday. We'll see how my schedule goes, if I'm able to get a second one in or not, but we're gonna start ramping back up. And that means that Elizabeth Masterton, my piece for Whip into Shape, will start coming back out next week. So I didn't work on it at all this week since we were taking kind of a week off. Again, Whip into Shape is a challenge that I created where you can stitch along with these walks I'm recording and posting on my second YouTube channel called Andrew in Stride. And they're just sort of point of view walking tours of different areas, and you can kind of sit there and stitch along with them, watch these different areas. If you've never been before, get to see a new area of the country, and now we'll get to share them in New York City. So there's a spreadsheet linked down below that you can follow along with. You can stitch for the number of miles that I walk, the number of steps I take, or the total time that I'm walking. And it's been so encouraging and exciting to see that so many of you have enjoyed those walks and enjoyed the challenge. You really are making great progress on your pieces. All right, I think that's enough talking for me for the beginning here. So let's just jump into the cross stitching this week. I've got 3 whips to share with you, and actually a new start, which will be very exciting. So stay tuned for that towards the end. The first whip I want to share with you is Woodland Enchantress. This is a kit from Dimensions, and here is what she's going to look like. She's really, really beautiful, and I've so enjoyed working on her. This came out for temperature stitching and was called for 500 stitches for the week. I will put a picture or video. I think I've got a video this week of where I was when I started. Okay, here's the starting point for Woodland Enchantress for the week. I really don't know where I'm going to work this week, to be honest. I might continue some in the background here. Maybe I'll work in some of the blues here. Maybe I'll come all the way over here and stitch. I'm not sure, but you will see 500 stitches put into this for temperature stitching. You'll see it now. And this week I was able to add in 1,397 stitches. Now that is way above the 500 that were called for temperature stitching. Kind of. They were all half stitches. So really it was about 700 stitches, still above what I was supposed to do, but more in the same realm. But yeah, 1,397 half stitches. And what I worked on this time is this section over here. So you'll see that this background sky, I brought all the way down to here. I think it was maybe about down to this part before. And so that is what I worked on. All of those half crosses. There's a bunch of different colors of blues and dark blues and light blues in there. And yeah, I just wanted to work on the background. You know, it's all got to be done sometime. And I had worked on her dress for so much the last several weeks that I thought, you know what, now is the time to just bring this down a little bit further. And we still have a ways to go. There is still a lot of background, and there's a lot of height to this piece left to go. I think I'm just over about the 50% mark of the cross stitching, but there's still a decent amount to go. So that is not the bottom of the background there, but it was really nice to get that in. I love how these colors form these like swirls in the sky of the snow in the background. I just think that's so beautiful, and she's really coming along. This is stitched using all the kit materials. So this is an 18 count Ada that came with the kit, all the kit floss. I'm using the called number of strands, half cross, full cross, whatever dimensions kits call for. And yeah, I'm super excited with my progress on her. You know, I wasn't sure how far I'd get with her in Florida because I had some other pieces that I knew I wanted to try to finish while I was down there. And I ended up making a really good amount of progress on her. I'm super happy with how she's looking. And it's fun to like just see this piece continue to grow little by little. It is a large piece, but I'm really enjoying it, and it was fun to get some of that background in this week. So she will continue to come out for temperature stitching. She's still in one of the categories, even though this week's stitching finished her witch whip category, which we'll get into in a little bit in plans to see which whip you all voted for. But that is Woodland Enchantress. The next whip I've got for you is called Under the Oaks, and this is a kit from Merejka. Here is what this one is going to look like. I am up here in this corner just working on these leaves, and it's been really fun to work on. But this was also called for temperature stitching, only 2 days, but I did manage to put a little bit extra from that in. So I will put a video in here where I was when I started the week. Okay, here's the starting point for Under the Oaks for the week. I will be working starting right here in the sky, and I'll bring this diagonal all the way down. I think that will get me to some of the greens down here, which is exciting. And if I still have some stitches left, I'll come back up here to the top, although this was only called for 1 day, so it'll be extra stitches, but you will see how far I get now. And this week I was able to add in 443 stitches, putting me at 7.1%. So 7% on this piece, and here is where I'm at now. This has been really fun. I am through the bulk of these leaves over here on this side of the tree. Here we're getting more and more into the tree trunk itself, which is a lot of fun. There is such beautiful definition in the trunk of the tree and the bark, how it lays on the trunk. It's absolutely beautiful. I really enjoy it. And you can see that there was a lot of confetti in this section because you have some leaves here that are working in this space along with the colors of the trunk. So it got pretty confetti heavy and it was a little bit of a slower go in that section right there. But the other fun thing that happened is when I got to the bottom of this diagonal right here, I got to hit some of these beautiful yellows and greens here in the grassy section. So this is where the sky meets the ground, and this will be the beginning of the ground there. So as you can see, this next diagonal is a very long one. They keep getting longer as we go, and so that will take quite a while to continue that diagonal all the way down, but it'll be really fun. I'll get to work through more of these leaves here and then work all the way down through the sky and get some more of that grass in. So really fun. Again, this is all the kit materials from Merejka. I'm using the Ada that came with the kit, which is a 16 count, and all the floss that comes with the kit as well. So really enjoying this, really loving the methodical stitching of this diagonal method that I'm using, and it's just been a lot of fun, and I think the results are really great. I'm loving the look of the fall foliage in those trees, and was just really excited to get more of that tree trunk in there. So that is Under the Oaks, and it will continue to come out for temperature stitching as well. The next piece I worked on was SAGA, and even though I was traveling back, I couldn't resist to work on this week and get in the stitches for it. So this is SAGA from Long Dog Samplers. I will put a picture up here or video up here of where I was when I started the week. All right, here's my starting point for SAGA, and I'm going to be working on this column. So I'm going to bring it all the way down, maybe start working my way over across the bottom if I can, but you'll see how far I get in a little bit. This week I was able to add in 592 stitches, putting me at 61.68% on this piece. And here is SAGA. It's a little easier to show in this setup, the full piece in the picture. Well, the full piece for now, but here's what it looks like. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using Silks for You silks in the colorway PR207. I'm using 1 strand of silk over 2 linen threads, and I just love it. I think it's looking so good. So let's zoom in a little bit and show what I worked on this week. So basically I brought this column, I think it was about halfway down. I brought it all the way to the bottom. So this is the bottom right here, and I sort of worked a little bit in that section. And then I came over here and did, I think, 1 or 2 strands of floss, probably just 1 strand of floss on this section to sort of bring the bottom over. So my next goal will be to connect the bottom here just to make sure everything is in line and in order. And then we'll get into the arch itself, which is very exciting. There's a lot in this arch, and it'll be a lot of fun to stitch. So that's where we are on SAGA. It's really, really coming along, and I'm excited to keep sharing it. So happy to get in the stitches for this week. And those are the 3 whips that I worked on this week. So the only other piece I have left to share with you is the new start that I decided to do. This was basically for my WhipGo call. WhipGo is a game, if you're not familiar, that Jessie Marie Does Stuff puts on, where you can have a WhipGo board that lists 25 different numbers, and she calls 2 numbers each month. Unless she hits 13, then she calls a 3rd number. And you can set up your board however you want. I'm playing a little bit of a game with my Patreon members for WhipGo this year, which has been super fun. And this time, Square 13 was called, and for me, that was a new start. So I needed to put 500 stitches into a new start. And that's what I decided to work on when I got back here. I had one that I was itching to kind of start, and I got back here and that one was just calling my name. So that's what I started. But I started this piece from Sherova Creations, and I believe it's called Stained Glass Orca. It's one of those Etsy titles. I'm gonna call it Stained Glass Orca. But it's this beautiful, beautiful piece of this orca whale, and I just loved the blues throughout the piece, the colors, the design of the stained glass window. I was really called to Sherova Creations when I saw Karen, the stitching owl. Hi, Karen. When I saw her stitching and completing her stained glass owl. I believe that was from Sherova Creations as well. And I started looking through her site on Etsy and realized she has a lot of these stained glass pieces that are full coverage, and I wanted to start one. So I found this orca whale and decided that's the one. I'm gonna go for that one. So I've had it in my stash for a little while, and I've had it fully kitted for a little while as well. And I thought, you know what, now's the time. Now is the time to start this piece. WhipGo is calling for it, so let's go ahead and do it. So I was able to put in this week 858 stitches, putting me at 2.05%, which is a very good start for this and also completes the WhipGo goal. So you'll see here, this is just the tiny little corner up here, but I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little closer. That's what it looks like. I love the details so far. These are just a little bit of stained glass pieces in the corner, so we have a long way to go until we get to the whale, but I really like how this is looking so far. I'm loving stitching with these shades of blue. They are just really, really fun. As you can see, I have decided to kind of follow the diagonal method again from the right-hand corner, and so far it's working pretty well for this piece. So I think I'll continue it. This piece is a little different because they're kind of in blocks. You know, each little section of the stained glass window is outlined in black, and so you can almost, instead of just doing a direct diagonal, you can almost just kind of stitch based on those stained glass little sections. So it might, we'll see how my method goes as I move on, if I decide to stitch it more kind of block by block in that, or if I continue with the diagonal, but it's been really fun so far. This is stitched on my first time stitching on a 22 count Hardanger fabric. I've been watching the Max Color Stitcher here on Flosstube. I'll link her channel down below. She stitches just beautiful full coverage pieces, and I've really enjoyed seeing her rotation and how much she gets done each week, and just beautiful, beautiful pieces. Anyway, I've been watching her channel, and she talks a lot. All of her projects are stitched on a 22 count Hardanger with 1/1 on using DMC. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just try it because all of her pieces look beautiful, and 22 count is easier to see, so I'm gonna give it a shot. And that's what I decided to stitch this on. I really like how it's turning out. I think the darker colors, you know, it's not maybe the fullest coverage, but I'm making it work, and I like the lighter colors. Definitely you get the coverage that you need, and it is easier to stitch on than like a 28 count, which is very tiny stitches. So I feel like it's a good balance, and this Hardanger is a little bit more sturdy, and so to stitch in hand it makes it a little bit easier, which is what I've been doing so far with this piece. But I don't know that I'll do all of my full coverage in this fabric, but it's a nice one to try this piece for this piece. And I chose this gray. It's just a Swigart 22 count Hardanger. I think it's water gray maybe, or touch of gray, something like that. But I wanted something with a little bit of a darker background than just white, so that when these dark stitches did come in, if there was something that showed through the stitches, it wouldn't be a bright white, it would be a little bit more muted, which is why I chose this. But really when I frame it, you're not gonna see the fabric anyway, and it's full coverage, so you're not gonna see any of it behind the pieces either. But I'm really excited. I've been in the mood to stitch full coverage lately. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think Under the Oaks really did it for me when I found that method of stitching, and figured why not just go for it while I'm in the mood for this. So yeah, this will be my full coverage piece. Now, the next Whip Go call was number 14. And for me, that was continue on the project you were just working on for Whip Go and add another 500 stitches. So that means this piece needed another 500 stitches to get to 1,000 for those 2 Whip Go goals. So I'm at 858 now after just this week, and I will finish out that Whip Go goal this week. So I'll get this to at least 1,000 stitches, and those 2 goals will be completed, and I can move on to my 3rd and final Whip Go call for the month of April. And I don't have any plans specifically for this piece as far as like when it's going to come out in a rotation or how often I'm going to work on it or when I hope to have it finished by, but it's really fun to have it started. I love these colors. It's a fun like summery piece to me too, with all the blues and the sky and water and all of that. So we'll see how much it comes out, but I will definitely continue working on it as I feel called to it. So that is my new start. I'm calling it Stained Glass Orca, and it's by Sherova Creations. A little interruption from editing Andrew here. When I was looking at Sherova Creations on Etsy, I realized that I think their store name has changed now. I think it's now called Pixel Junkies Studio. There's a little blurb at the bottom of the page that still shows and talks about Sherova Creations, but I think that the name of the store itself has changed on Etsy. So just so you know, it's Pixel Junkies Studio, and I'll still have a link for the pattern that I purchased from there, but just wanted to clarify that. Also, it looks like the patterns are on sale right now, so if you want to check it out, feel free to. Okay, back to regular programming. I did also want to just share how I sort of kitted up that project. For Stained Glass Orca, I think there's only like 37 or 40 colors in the piece. Still a decent amount of colors, but not like outrageous like some full coverages can be. And so I decided I was going to try a new way of kitting it up, and I purchased these on Amazon. And basically they're little holders where you can, there's a little tag in the center here where you can write exactly kind of what colors you're working with on there. And then it's kind of like a floss drop for each color, except it has these foam parts here at the bottom that kind of hold the floss in place to avoid it getting tangled. And basically you can just grab one strand of the floss from here and kind of pull it out, and the foam sort of holds the rest of it in place as you pull that one strand out. And then it's also got places here, like you can see right here, for you to put a needle in, and you can just kind of stick the needle in the foam part that's right there. You can see I have one on the end, and that way your needle is just kind of ready to go. You can just pull it and use it when you need to, and obviously you can restock it if you want. So I'm just kind of testing this out and seeing if I like it for this full coverage. I'm also going to share in a little bit another one that I'm kitting up, so you'll see another one of these. But so far I really like it. Like I said, I've only started working on this piece this week and just a little bit, so I can continue to give you a review of what I think of it, but it's nice to have all the colors. You can see all the beautiful blues here in this piece. It's nice to have everything kind of in this one compact little case, and yeah, I'm just trying it out for something new as a way to kit it. So that's what I'm at with this piece. All right, and that was all my stitching for the week. So a little bit of a lighter week for me. Typically I have a little more stitching to share, but it was a busier week. You know, I just got back to New York on Thursday. On Friday, I spent the entire day cleaning the apartment. You would not believe how much dust accumulates in a New York City old apartment when it's not being used for 4 months. So I did a deep clean on Friday, and then the weekend was really fun to just kind of get back to and embrace the city again. I went for a longer run in Central Park on Saturday morning. I had lunch with a friend at one of our favorite Thai restaurants in the afternoon. I met some friends in the evening. Sunday I was able to enjoy the weather a little bit, and one of my Stitchy friends was Danielle. She was here in town visiting, and she invited me to go see a Broadway show with her. So we went together and saw the Broadway show and had a wonderful time just chatting after the show and catching up a little bit. So it was really a nice welcome back to the city, but didn't allow for as much Stitchy time as, you know, what I had been getting before in Florida. And that's okay. You know, it was what was supposed to happen this weekend, and you know, my stitching time might not be as much now that I'm back here and have more sort of things to do, and I'm continuing to look for work and all of that. But it just was a really nice welcome back to the city to get to do some of my favorite things in my neighborhood and in my area. And really just enjoyed it. And the time I did get to stitch while I was back here, I enjoyed sitting in my cozy corner and I was watching Downton Abbey. That was the show I was kind of going through, and just really enjoying the space again and enjoying stitching here. Running has been going well. As I said, I took a long run in Central Park on Saturday and it was so beautiful. It was a cooler morning. I did 9 miles and it was just lovely to get back to the park. I really love running there, and it was very special to kind of get back to there and have that run. So I am training right now for a half marathon, which will be the middle of May, and I've got a couple more weeks of long runs. I think this week I've got a 10-mile run to do on the weekend. So gearing kind of back up to that half marathon pace, and I'll keep you posted on as we get closer to race day and things like that. But I'm excited. It's a race that I love in Brooklyn, and it'll be fun to get back to. I also wanted to share something fun that happened, and that was through an Amazon order that I purchased. I needed a new phone case, and so I purchased it on Amazon. And when I got the order, the case came with a thank you note, and it was basically a thank you note saying, "We're a small business. Thank you for choosing us on Amazon. We really appreciate your order." And I thought that was really cool that there is a way to support small businesses through something as big as Amazon as well. Anyway, it was cool to see that. When I opened it, the note came out, but also 2 stickers fell out of it. And for me, these stickers just meant a lot. Just getting back to New York City, still feeling a little frustrated with the job market and what's happening there, but these stickers really made a difference in my day. So I wanted to share them with you. The first one is this cute little corgi right here with his tongue sticking out. How could that not make you smile? I just think it's so cute. And the next one was the one that really hit me. It sort of fell out of the package, and I just loved the colors, but the message, never give up. And I just felt like it was a moment of coming back to New York City and just reminding me to not give up, that this is not the end, and I can keep going and keep pushing forward. And so I wanted to share those stickers with you as a reminder that, we can find joy even in the little things, even in something as simple as stickers that come in an Amazon package. Can bring joy to our day and brighten our day. And that really kind of set the tone for the weekend for me and just really put me in a different mindset and mood. And so that's been really, really helpful for me. I also wanted to share some Stitchy kindness that I received. One of my viewers, Sue, reached out and asked if I would be interested in this chart. It is Ice Angel from Lavender and Lace. And I have a bunch of the Lavender and Lace designs, but I don't have this one. And I've always really liked it, even though it is a lot of white stitching. I've always really liked the design. And so she offered to send it to me. She also sent me the blue linen that comes with it, and then 2 of the Krynics, this beautiful, beautiful blue Krynic, and then the white as well. And so, Sue, thank you so much. This was very kind of you. I'm really happy to have this chart. If I were to stitch this, I don't know if I would stitch the wings or not. I know that's a big part of it, but I also just sort of like the design, and I could sort of center it more a little bit differently, but just the design of her, the dress, and that little Christmas tree. So we'll see, but it's a really fun one to have in my stash, and I was really grateful to receive this. And then, as I mentioned, my friend Danielle was here, and we were able to see a show together, and she surprised me with some lovely Stitchy kindness from Acorns and Threads, which is her LNS. And the first thing she brought was this beautiful Acorns and Threads little pouch, keeping you in stitches for 30 years. And they just reached their 30-year anniversary of being a shop. I think that's incredible that they have been in business for that long. Everybody I know loves that shop. I'd love to get there someday, but I'm happy to have this little piece of their 30th anniversary of the shop. She also sent me a few patterns. I had shared on my Patreon what some of my favorite patterns were from the market release, and she went back through and looked at that video and sort of picked up some of my favorites, which I'm super, super grateful for. And the first one she brought back was Glory in the Wind. This is from Robin Pickens, and it's this beautiful picture of this sort of tattered, tarnished flag that these birds are sort of holding together. And I'm not usually a patriotic stitcher, but something about the design of this, I've never seen it, the flag sort of designed in this way with sort of animals in it and the streamers. I just really liked it. And so I don't know if I'll get this one started for the 250th or not in July. Definitely won't be finished by then, but I could start it around that time. but I'm happy to have this in my stash. If I were to stitch it, I probably would not stitch the words around it. I might either find another saying to put around it or just stitch the birds and the streamers there. But really happy to have this in my collection. The next one she gave me was the Prairie Schooler Santa from this year. I just think this is such a classic Prairie Schooler and love the design. I can't wait to stitch this up. I already have fabric that I've stitched another one on that I know will look good. So this might be a Christmas start or maybe even Christmas in July. I'm not sure, but really happy to have this one. And the final one she sent is one that I fell in love with the minute I saw it. This is from Little Robin Designs, and it's called Full Blown Floral. And I just loved the colors of these flowers. Look at the way the oranges and the purples and the deep red colors just sort of pop on this piece. I don't know why I was so drawn to it, but I am. It's very springy and would be a great time to start it now. I'll have to see what all is needed to kit it up, but really happy to have this in my collection as well. Those were 3 of my favorites from Market this year, and thank you so much, Danielle, for getting those for me. I really appreciate it, and I had a great time spending the day with you. All right, the only other thing I have today to talk about is plans, and the first thing I will mention is I am going to continue temperature stitching another week. So I'll put the picture of the chart down here below, but this week, before I put the chart in, I forgot, we had Which Whip. So the 2 whips that were called on the wheel last week were Mr. and Mrs. Claus, which I had you write Santa in the keyword if you wanted to vote for that one, or Under the Oaks, and I had you write Deer if you wanted to vote for that one. And I thought it was so funny, and I know it amused a lot of you that 2 of the whips that were called were the ones that I had in Florida anyway. So it wasn't bringing back an old whip from my apartment here. But anyway, I'll put a picture up here of the total tally of votes, but Under the Oaks was the winner. There were 47 votes for Deer, and there were 29 votes for Santa, for Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So Under the Oaks will go into that Which Whip category, and it's already in one of the other categories, so it'll kind of flip-flop with Woodland Enchantress this week. And basically what I mean by that is I'll put a picture of the new chart here, but 5 days were called for between the 2 Under the Oaks categories, and 2 days were called for Woodland Enchantress. So 500 stitches will get into Under the Oaks and 200 for Woodland, which is really exciting. Woodland is coming close to the end of that category, which is the My Choice category, which I'm kind of excited about because, as you've seen, I haven't dipped into any of the whips that I returned to here in New York. So that is on my list to do this week. I want to get back to some of those pieces, and it's exciting to know that My Choice category is coming up soon for a new rotation to get in there, and then I'll get to kind of put in one of my older whips. Plus, we're almost approaching May, and I am going to do Mania 500 again, where I hope to rotate through as many of my whips as I can and get 500 stitches into each one as I rotate through. So hopefully in May you will get to see a bunch of my whips that you haven't seen in a while. Of course, my other plan is SAGA, and I will continue to put the 550 stitches in this week to keep that going. And the only other thing I want to work on is my whip go goals. So as you know, I need to put in about 150 stitches into the stained glass Orca piece to complete that second whip go goal. And then hopefully I'll have a little time to move on to the third this week. But I think that's enough plans. Other than that, I'm just going to focus on getting settled back in New York City and enjoying what I'm stitching on and pulling out what I want to work on, whether that means an older whip that is here that you haven't seen in a while, or continuing on whips that I've worked on for the past few months in Florida. We'll see what happens. Maybe even a new start. Speaking of a new start, I know I mentioned I had another full coverage that I was kitting up and was going to share with you some more of those little floss holders that I was using. And so there's another big full coverage piece that I want to start. And I started kitting it up this weekend with some of the floss that I had in my stash, and had one of these in my stash that I could kind of start putting them on these cards. And so this one is ready, but the piece is so big and so many colors that there are 2 more card stacks that I need to get done. 2 more of these that I need to finish kitting up. And I still am missing some of the threads. So once I go through my stash and put everything in that I have, I'm sure there'll be some holes left and some additional floss I need to buy. But this is a piece I'm really, really excited for, and I want to start it. So I'm going to keep slowly working at finishing to kit it up, so that way when I do start it, everything's ready to go. I do have fabric that it fits on. I checked when I got back here, and it does fit on fabric that I have. It'll be a 25 count, and I'm going to stitch it 1/1. And so I'm ready to go in that respect. I just have to get all the floss organized and ready to go. You know, starting a full coverage piece is a lot of work because there are a lot of flosses that go into it. And if you're not working from a master set of DMC, or you want to kit it up individually like I am with this piece, it takes a lot of time to do that kitting, and it's time away from stitching. So although it doesn't look like much, this did take probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours to cut all the floss to the lengths that I wanted, put it on these cards, write the numbers in, all of that thing. The other thing with this piece is I think I'm going to have it be a mystery piece, meaning I'm not actually going to share the title or the name of the piece that I will be working on, but I will continue to reveal it as I stitch it. And I think it will be fun because it is sort of a collage piece of a bunch of different motifs. And so you'll be able to sort of see and guess as we get further along into the piece what it is I'm stitching or who it is I'm stitching, and I think that will be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that as we get into it. I'm hoping to also do some Stitch With Me videos on that one that you can kind of see it come to life as I'm stitching, and also to show sort of the method that I'm using with the diagonal stitching in full coverage pieces. So that is all kind of coming. Stay tuned for that as I continue kitting up and getting that one ready, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun to have a kind of mystery stitch where you won't know exactly what the full piece looks like, but you'll just get to see it kind of come to life as I go. But it's another huge one, so it will be decades before I finish it and before you get the full reveal. So stay tuned. And yeah, I think that's all I've got for you this week. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with Winston and I. He is sleeping on my lap in case you can't see him. I think he's too low on the camera to see, but he's been here and he's been sleeping. But thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully next week I'll have a little bit more stitching to share and maybe even some projects you haven't seen in a while. And we'll get back to that sort of normal routine. But I really appreciate your time and spending a little bit of it with me. And that's all I've got. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.